A large number of Blinkit customers are struggling as stores continue to show unavailability in many parts of the country. As many as 2,500 Blinkit delivery executives are on strike in Delhi NCR. Reason: the recent changes made in the delivery incentive structure, wherein the company slashed fixed payouts per delivery. Now, under the new structure, workers will receive 15 rupees for each delivery within 1 kilometer radius. Earlier, they were getting about 25 rupees. Now, further, for travelling beyond 1 kilometers, workers would get anywhere between 10 to 14 rupees per kilometer on the additional distance. The strike has resulted in some Blinkit stores closing down permanently. Zomato, the parent company of Blinkit, says that the operations are back to normal in certain parts of the stores in Delhi NCR, but the recent strikes have left us with more questions than answers. How sustainable is quick delivery service model? More importantly, who will protect the rights of delivery executives and other blue-collar workers once the startup operations pick pace and there is a need to cut cost? We will be discussing that and a lot more. With me in the studio, my colleague Kartik and Krishna. Kartik, coming to you first. One question that perhaps comes to everybody's minds is that 10 rupee looks like a very small amount from our perspective as people who are ordering out. But for a delivery person, it could mean a whole lot of difference.
Of course it does. I mean, 10 rupees cut out on a small base of 25 rupees, you're actually talking about what, close to about 60%? So 60% of the fee that one used to draw earlier is something that they're going to draw today. Now, we've got to see this in the larger context of the fact that India is actually the second largest employer of gig workers anywhere in the world, right? There's something like 77 lakh gig workers operating in India. And what are the prime employers for these gig workers? You're talking about companies like Swiggy, Zomato, Ola. These top the ranks when it comes to the gig economy. Now, there are two ways to look at it, Shweta. Number one, is there an incentive in cutting down the payout per delivery, which can be passed on to the consumer? If that happens to be the case, there is a higher chance of more customers latching on to a quick delivery platform and ordering more, which means the gig economy workers, the riders who were delivering, let's say, 100 orders in a day, could very well start delivering 40% more orders if there are more takers in their locality. Right. Secondly, the differentiator in Blinkit versus, let's say, the other e-commerce platforms and their delivery partners is the fact that there are regions assigned to each delivery partner. So a delivery partner servicing, let's say, Sector 125 Noida, where we are operating right now, there will be X number of delivery partners who are only expected to service this sector, only pick up groceries or whatever items you're buying from a particular district center or a store assigned for delivery into this sector. Now, as we speak, in fact, I was looking just before I came into the studio if I could order a cup of coffee, in fact, coffee beans to make my coffee in office, but the error message pops up. So, Blinkit right now is not delivering in Sector 125 Noida.
Unavailable.
Right. But the point being, yes, it is obviously a major hit to the gig economy workers. And that is a pain that you can't take away, especially because you know that these are the guys who are actually bread earners for their families. And these are the people who don't make enough money to be able to build any savings and keep anything for the rainy day. And talking about rainy days specifically, what happens? You order something on a rainy day, you can't deliver it in 9 minutes, obviously there's a loss. Right.
Absolutely.
So people like us may not think twice when the weather is bad outside, when it is scorching heat, or when it is really cold, or when it is raining. But our expectation is that the partner, whether getting 25 rupees or 15 rupees from our total bill, should still come and deliver. So what was the rush for any platform to really get into this super quick commerce is another question that we
What's your take on super quick commerce, Krishna? 11-minute delivery, 9-minute delivery. Everybody's competing with one another as to how quickly you can deliver. Instant gratification is the need of the hour. We as people perhaps don't think much into it, but there is a lot that goes behind it.
Oh, absolutely. For starters, now Blinkit, because of about 2,500 odd workers going on strike, these dark stores where they hoard these items for immediate delivery, about 375 of them have been shut down. And that's the reason why you're seeing what is happening. And just to be devil's advocate for a second, Zomato has said that there will be little to very nothing kind of revenue hit for the company as a whole because of all the disruptions over the last 4 to 5 days. They're saying about a 1% revenue hit for Blinkit as a platform, and 0.15% revenue hit for Zomato put together, which acquired Blinkit for around 4,400 crore rupees. So that's the situation as far as the company is concerned. Yes, the human issue here is that the amount of effort that goes in, it does not get compensated. And why? If I were to quote somebody controversial like Ashnir Grover of Bharat Pay, he says that the plain simple math of it all is that the unit economics for quick commerce doesn't really work. And that's the fact of the matter. Nobody is able to prove that you can do quick commerce and make it a profitable business, leave alone Blinkit. And the only way to make quick commerce profitable is by slashing delivery costs. And what is a delivery cost? Is the money that you pay to your delivery partner. And that's what Blinkit has done. And that's how their quarterly results will be perfectly fine. But the situation continues to be problematic for customers like you and me, Shweta, and of course the workers, the gig economy that Kartik Malhotra was talking about, the gig workers, who are also one of us. They're also trying to make a living, trying to do this for us. So that's where this stalemate is, Shweta.
Absolutely. So it's not just about a human issue. It's also a labor force issue. Trina Das, who's the founder of Gigchain, is with us at this point in time. Trina, thanks very much for joining us. I want to begin by asking, what is the state of blue-collar workers? Are you in talks with some of these delivery partners? What are they saying? What are their concerns like?
Sure. So we have been into delivery business for a long time. Recently, we are not doing deliveries, but we have a pretty good experience of working with delivery partners. And what we realized through our experience is that it's very inhuman for what the delivery guys are actually having to go through, and how they are managing their daily costs from the kind of earnings that they are getting to make from the normal delivery costs. But when you are slashing it down by such a huge difference, it creates a big impact in the lives of blue collar workers, and we definitely feel for them. I mean, I do understand the need of a company to become profitable or to meet their marketing targets and their matrices, but it's also important for us to understand that if the customer is not willing to pay for the delivery costs, we shouldn't be force fitting that delivery with minimal cost, putting it all on the blue collar worker. This is pretty inhuman, and we totally don't support. I think we founders need to be really responsible, and I hope companies like Zomato, Blinkit, and others do realize the same and not scale at the cost of the workers.
Okay, where is the remedy in law as far as labor laws in India is concerned? What can gig workers do? We know that they are on a strike for a while now, since 13th of April. They continue to protest, they continue to get together, but what is the ultimate resort as far as law is concerned?
Unfortunately, the gig workers, there is no strong law for gig workers who are actually working as business partners and not on their payroll. So the protection for them and being fair to them, it's not really defined by the law right now, because of which the startups are able to do whatever they are whatever is making sense for them without understanding the last mile challenges for the workers.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to understand. Yeah, but there is nothing in the law at this point. I mean, which is something that government should look at.
Okay, let's talk about the entire model of quick commerce at this point in time, Kartik, and that is that in a country like India, where 150,000 people die of road accidents, you have these people on roads delivering within the time frame. If not, they're punished for it. How sustainable do you think the entire model is?
Okay, so you've got to actually take a couple of steps back and see this through. Why are they doing this? They're doing this because there is no better opportunity cost. So if you look at pure economics, the theory of opportunity cost in economics, they are taking this up because this is the best option available.
Okay.
In the absence of any other employment stream available to them, given their limited skill sets, given their limited education, this is the best option for them to take up, and they take it up. Now, are companies really exploiting it? I think that's a very harsh word. Companies are, while they're cutting down on costs, we've also got to look at the fact that these companies have given employment to a huge mass of the population which was unskilled, lesser educated, to take on a better employment gig, Right. So they are into this business and they are into this service because this service pays them and pays for them and their families. Now, of course, an average earning of, let's say, 18,000 a month, right, median being 18,700 or something, reduced to, let's say, 1,200 rupees a day, now comes down from 1,200 a day to 800 rupees a day. But do they have an option better than 800 rupees a day to switch over to? If they do, they will. And that is where the whole sort of equilibrium will set in, where the dynamics of a free labor economy start to kick in.
Right.
The fact of the matter is they don't. If they want to, let's say, switch over from a quick commerce delivery to, let's say, become an Ola driver, their inherent costs also go up. They need to be licensed drivers. They need to figure out a way to afford EMI, which they're paying for a bike right now, pay EMI for a car. They need to cater to the maintenance of that car. Inflation is hitting bikes and cars and fuel prices in general, but a motorcycle gives much better mileage than a car. So, overall, what I'm really trying to arrive at is that this is the best option available to gig workers. Can they unionize? They can't unionize. They are not on the payrolls, right? And that's the message that the lady was just trying to drive home as well. They are contractual laborers who have signed an agreement and are there. And that's the best deal they've got. So if a company decides to cut back on costs, I doubt there's anything much that can be done about it.
Absolutely. And this goes beyond quick commerce. We were discussing this morning that this actually is a systemic problem with every company. They first fixate on the top line. They have enough incoming customers who come in, their pockets are full. Now they start looking at the bottom line and making profit. And which is the only place, or where's the only place that they can actually get money from, is the people working for them. So delivery people, drivers. In case of Ola, for that matter, Krishna, and I would like you to come in here. I think it's a history repeating for itself here in India with every other app, be it a taxi hailing app, be it quick commerce. It happens on a yearly basis. You have Zomato workers going on strike, you have Swiggy workers going on strike, and now with Blinkit.
Well, absolutely, a fair point you make, and it's not just India. Again, it's across the world. You've seen, Ola and Uber workers going on strike, across European nations. So many countries where they're facing so many issues. From taxi hailing, as you rightly pointed out, to quick commerce. There seems to be what many people from my travels of meeting startup founders across the country is that a cultural understanding of what it means to deal with a labor force while setting up a global MNC company that these people want to do.
Yeah, and they are. Zomato is delivering across 4-5 countries last I checked.
Yeah, and so in that sense, the understanding of a people from a socio-economic strata. It's not just about Indian delivery workers. We're talking about taxi riders in Spain, protesting. You have umpteen examples happening, and that's happening because of the ongoing socio-economic divide that you're witnessing. We've gone from a 80-20 world to a 90-10 world, and then startup founders, I think, after a point, while understanding everything from the importance of unit economics to business to other things, understanding people culturally, what it means for livelihoods, for them to, for what these livelihoods mean to them, and to be able to be accommodative of that. Let's face it, you had Maruti, Suzuki, having issues with its own employees, in Manasar, and that also, again, they say that because the Japanese part of the management, were not culturally, able to attune to what was going on with the workers over there. And I think it's a similar problem between startup founders who come from, say, Ivy League schools and, setup, socio-economic setup, dealing with people who they've never dealt with growing up. And, and therein lies a culture clash that is socio-economic.
And there's one more thing I'd like to add to that, Shweta, before you ask the next question. Fundamentally, when you look at it globally, the Uber drivers are not actually just Uber drivers. These are guys who are doing a regular day job and in their spare time trying to make extra money by being on the Uber partner app and picking and dropping customers. So the concept of gig economy is actually very different. It is an additional gig that you pick up in addition to your existing regular job. The problem in India, given the large population, given the overall skill challenge and education challenge, which a lot of youth today are facing and inundated with literally, is the fact that a gig job actually becomes their sole job. Because the more number of hours you give, they don't work 8 hours, right? They are working 12 hours, 14 hours. Some Uber drivers, taxi hailing drivers that I have met have worked for as long as 24 hours as well. Right. So the point is, this is their only source of employment. And when this source of employment gets hit even by a 40%, it's a huge number. Unit economics say it's only a 10 rupee, right? But extrapolate that over the 14, 15, 16 hours. No, the number of
and
hours
the
and the number of deliveries they are doing in those number of hours, and then extrapolate that to a larger population, it's a huge number we are talking about. So obviously cost saving for the quick delivery apps and the ecosystem per se. But the point is, doing this, will it bring in profitability? Because profitability doesn't come to Indian startups. And the larger point here being, because you're always going to target increasing your customer base.
Okay.
And how do you increase your customer base? You will keep increasing your customer base by undercutting your profitability. So Ola went and bought Taxi for Sure back in 2015, 2016, I guess. Grofers, which Blinkit is today, started as Grofers, right? 2015, it introduced the disruption of same-day delivery.
Yep.
Deliveries would take 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, depending on where they're coming from.
Next day.
No, the same day. Their advantage really, the disruption that Grofers did was same-day delivery.
Same-day delivery.
Right, you ordered something online on a Flipkart or
So
Amazon,
going beyond
and
big
came
baskets
4 or 5 days
And
later.
we're talking
Exactly.
about Grofers, incidentally, they also came up with the original quick commerce concept of picking it up from a nearby store
Exactly.
and delivering it to you.
Exactly.
They don't have the warehouse; they're just picking it up from a nearby store and delivering it to you. They have delivery partners in a micro locality.
So these disruptions will have to be made. Otherwise, how else do you compete? A Blinkit today competes with a Dunzo, competes with Zepto, competes with a Big Basket, competes. I mean, you've got to survive, and to survive, you've got to disrupt. And you disrupt by introducing these quirky 9-minute deliveries, 12-minute deliveries, and then I mean, you're obviously trying to expand your customer base. You want to service those many more people. Your top line increases, but then every delivery is obviously a cost.
It has a cost, and human cost at this point in time, as we can see. Trina continues to be with us. Trina, help me understand, you have trained over 5,000 gig workers. We were talking about the gig economy and how it's become a mainstream job as opposed to having a side job that you can pursue in the later part of the day after you're done with your full-time job. How's the gig economy panning out at this point? Is there a sense of, the sense of excitement continues, or are people being more cautious about it now?
Yeah, so I think the trend is coming, the gig working side is growing, of course. 90 million workers are doing gig work right now, which is kind of like the full-time earning source for so many people. But what we do have to realize is that when a person is coming on the gig working side, they need premium payment to compensate for the full-time recruitment or employment that they earlier had. It cannot work with a discounted model, of course, and companies needs to pay premium for the services that we are providing, because we are saving the costs of employment compliances and so many other things. The idea of cutting costs and making it equal to the salaries of gig worker is never going to work out, and that is what is very irresponsible for founders and companies who are taking the decision to not care about the cost that is coming on these workers, which is very unfortunate, and it, our heart breaks to imagine that we are not able to do something for these gig workers, because we truly feel for them and trying to make a model that works. And
Trina, have you spoken to a Blinkit worker of recently, maybe in a day or two? What's the sense that you're getting from them? Are they going to go back to work, call off the strike? Is there a promise made by the management at Zomato? What's happening really on ground?
So one thing is that they are dependent on the on the gig work, obviously, because that is their full-time work that they are doing right now. I think there's a lot of frustration. They feel helpless. They feel not cared for, and which is really not a good situation to be in. I mean, we are just talking about the cost-cutting part, but the kind of mental trauma that the gig workers are having to go through is unimaginable. I have got the chance to speak to one of the Blinkit workers who we have placed earlier, when we were into gig work, and it was not a very good discussion. I mean, we felt really bad and tried to help him get something else. We are actually trying to put him into something else. So that's what I felt, yeah.
Okay, so even as Zomato and continues to say that it's not going to affect our operations, in fact, less than 1% of our revenue will be impacted, and we are now back on track. Most of our stores is open. We don't know whether the strike is going to be called off. In fact, when looking at the quick commerce numbers, and I have some numbers here for the benefit of our viewers, it was at $300 million as of last year. In the next year or so, it will swell 10 to 15 times to $5 billion by 2025. Those are big numbers, Kartik, Krishna. It basically essentially goes on to say that despite whatever is happening at the ground reality does not really impact people who are seeking gig work. That continues to be a hot cake, and everybody is going after it because nobody, dislikes extra penny, extra money that they can make at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's customers like us that these companies have expanded their customer base into and
Absolutely.
acquired us. Can you imagine your life without quick commerce today? I can't for the life of me. There's
I've been
no
trying to
way.
order for the last 3 days. Every evening I go back home and Blinkit says it's unavailable.
Yeah, but Blinkit is one case in point right now because there's a strike and because some of the stores were shut down and because in general, the workers are not available. But the fact of the matter is, you Swiggy your dinner, you Swiggy Instamart your groceries, you Milk Basket your next day's requirements. You're living off these apps. The urban Indian is living off the apps. I don't remember the last time, honestly, I went out and bought fruit, or last I went out and bought milk from a mother dairy or from any other physical retail outlet. I don't do it. I mean, the more amount of time we are able to save going to a shop and physically buying something is time we can use in more productive or entertaining avenues, as the case may be. So the point is, why the numbers that you just cited, right? 300 million swelling up to 5 billion. It's a huge 12x, 13x sort of a growth. But the fact of the matter is, you have those many players right now who are all fighting for the same Shweta, Krishna, Kartik, and there are half a dozen apps that I can bet each of us, quick delivery apps, each of us would have on our phones right now. And each of those players are going after us, and they will continue to do that. And we will be available on each of these platforms, buying something which is available on A app, buying something else which is available on B app, and we will continue to add to the 5 billion journey that they are embarking upon.
The market remains same.
The only question is, you're talking about a time of ESG in companies. If there can be environmental and social goals. I mean, this has to be a social goal that you don't exactly have people in slavery to you. You don't have people, you are bonded labor to you because they have no other option or where to go anywhere. Yeah, sure, they don't have any other option, but you don't have to be the way you are. You can subsidize them in a much better way. If you can find a better business model of working this out. So it's really up to the companies now to find solutions that are humanly sustainable, if I may.
Oh, absolutely, humanly sustainable. We have to find solutions that are sustainable. It's a human cost that quick delivery apps are paying at this point in time. People who continue to suffer. There is very little recourse in law. Most of these people are freelancers. They are not contractual. Makes it very difficult for them to get an avenue, get a solution to their big problem. In this case, in case of Blinkit specifically, it's the cut in the revenue model. It's the cut in the incentive structure that they were getting. They were getting up till 25 rupees. They'll now be getting 15 rupees for every delivery. Many of them are on roads at this point in time, and they continue to protest. We don't know when they will call off the protest, but that's an important story we will continue to track here.